Guys, what is going on? Welcome to my review for last night's edition of Monday Night Raw. We are going to take a look and break down everything that happened on the June 27th, 2017 edition of Monday Night Raw. What were my thoughts on it? What did I like? What didn't I like? You're going to hear all that and more in this video. So I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in and watching. And make sure to leave your comments down below for what you thought of last night's edition of Raw. I have to say, I thought last night's edition of Raw was solid. I enjoyed it. There was a lot that I enjoyed from it. Was it a perfect show? No. But I think with Raw, the best that we're going to get, it's very tough to get a perfect 3-hour show. But there was enough that I got out of this show that got me excited for the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view on July 9th as that date gets closer and closer. So without further ado, let's take a look at what took place on Raw last night. We opened up with an in-ring segment with Roman Reigns. Of course, we got a mixed reaction, a lot of "We Want Strowman" chants, and talked about Strowman coming down, and Reigns accepted his challenge that Strowman laid out for him for the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. It's going to be an ambulance match between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. It'll finally, hopefully, culminate this feud. But really, every week that Strowman comes out and beats the shit out of Roman Reigns is a good week in my book. So Braun wasted no time here. An ambulance came out. Looked like he was, goading Roman into going over to the ambulance. He opened up the ambulance doors. Strowman jumped him from behind. They brawled up on the stage. And then as Reigns was going for a Superman punch, Strowman caught him, picked up Roman Reigns, and literally threw him into the ambulance. So, that was good in my book. Like I said, Braun is, he wants Roman Reigns' ass. And he's going to get that at hashtag WWE Balls. It's going to be an ambulance match. These two are going to go to war. And like I said, it is so great to have Braun Strowman back on this show. He just adds a feeling of unpredictability. You don't know what he's going to do next. He's just unstoppable. And I hope this leads to an impending collision with Lesnar. Although we'll get to Lesnar and Joe later on in the show, which I thought was phenomenal. But yeah, really strong segment here to open up the show. And I look forward to these two going at it again at Great Balls of Fire. Should be a really good match. We then had a solid 6-man tag. Elias Sampson, Cesaro, Sheamus versus Finn Balor and the Hardy Boys. So that was a first-time pairing. Nice to see them team up. I liked at first how they teased Sampson singing with Cesaro and Sheamus, and I actually wanted to see that happen until they were interrupted by the Hardy Boys coming out. But some, good back-and-forth tag team action here. I really liked the comeback by Finn Balor, and he was just going crazy on Cesaro. Sheamus doing his dive over the top rope, taking out Cesaro, Sheamus, and Sampson. Like I said, some nice action in this match. Crowd was into it. Eventually, towards the end, Balor hits actually, Jeff Hardy hits a Twist of Fate onto Sheamus, onto the floor. Balor sling blades Cesaro, and then hits the tornado drop kick and the coup de grace on Cesaro for the victory. And then after this, we had Goldust, who promised that he would be putting the finishing touches on his masterpiece, and that the Golden Age is back, and that Shattered Truth will hit the stage. I love these heel Goldust promos. He had a new look tonight, kind of going back, maybe the classic Goldust look. I was hoping for the wig to come back. We didn't get the wig. But it was supposed to be a match between Goldust and R-Truth, and Goldust came out with his own cameraman, and instead he hid behind the cameraman, did a sneak attack while R-Truth, his back was turned, and threw him arm first into the ring post. So a nice little beat down here. I would have liked to see a little bit more between these two, a little bit more viciousness from Goldust, but they were smart not to do the match here. Believe it or not, I'm actually interested in this feud between Goldust and R-Truth. I love the way that they're building Goldust up. Hell, I'd love to see him go on another run with the Intercontinental Championship. I think that would be something very interesting to see. Goldust, very underrated. he gets it. He gets from psychology to the in-ring work to just telling a story. And I like the story that they're telling here between Goldust and R-Truth, and I look forward to seeing where they go next week and leading into what I presume will be the match taking place at Great Balls of Fire. Paul Heyman shows up. He says Brock Lesnar will be here, and he's going to call out Samoa Joe. And I just love how Samoa Joe keeps sneaking up on Paul Heyman. It almost looks like they're going to kiss, but they're not going to do that. It's just he gets really close to Paul Heyman. I'm like, what do you think of there, Joe? And Joe says, pretended to put Paul in a coquina clutch, and he said, it's actually meant for your client. So a little foreshadowing later on in the show. We then had the Miz TV with the Ball family. LeVar Ball and his son, I believe Lonzo. I hope I get these names right. LaMelo. I tried, guys. Not really too familiar with them because I am not a basketball fan, but I knew that these guys were going to be, this family was going to be on Monday Night Raw, and boy, oh boy, was this certainly a train wreck to watch. My first thoughts on it were, I didn't like it at all. I was like, what the hell am I watching here? But then I went back to watch it. And one thing that I really liked about this segment was that LeVar Ball, I think he went off script here. And you know what? That's exactly what this show needs to do. The show needs to ditch the scripts, as I've been saying now, and let them speak from the heart. Now, this was no great segment by any means, but it was kind of refreshing in a way. Like, it was bad, but it was so bad that you had to watch. I know some people liked it, some people didn't. Kind of got a mixed reaction based on what I saw online. Yeah, but the second time I viewed it, I was laughing. I was like, you know what? This is what they get for putting these guys on TV. You knew they were probably going to do something, probably go off the script or what have you and not stick to what you had written for them. And LeVar eventually took his shirt off and he started doing karate poses. He told The Miz to put his clothes back on. His son actually dropped the N-word twice on TV, so there you go, WWE. That just put the cherry on top of this segment. And apparently they sent Dean Ambrose out there to cut the segment. I think they did cut the segment short. And Ambrose started talking about balls. Get it? Balls, because great balls of fire. See, it all makes sense now why you brought the Ball family on 2 weeks before your Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. Hashtag WWE Balls. Boy, they're sure obsessed with those, aren't they? Wonder why. So yeah, you know what? WWE, you get what you deserve. And it was a train wreck, but it was fun to watch. And then I had a standard six-man tag. Really not too much to say about Dean Ambrose, Heath Slater, Rhino versus The Miz, Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas. The Miz, Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas won after Dallas rolled up Rhino for the win. Standard stuff here, not really too much to say, although one thing that I am happy to hear about is being reported that Maurice, rumored to be breaking up from The Miz, looks like that's not going to be happening, which is a good thing. I am interested in the inclusion of Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, two guys who are really doing nothing on the Raw roster as part of Miz's entourage, or Miz-tourage, or whatever they're calling it. So it's something interesting and different, and I want to see where they go with this. Like I said, gives these two guys something to do, keep Miz with Maurice, all good in my book, because they're killing it as a power couple. You do not split them up. Don't do it. We then had a really good in-ring promo segment from Enzo Amore. He really poured his heart out in this segment. He talked about trying to call Cass all week, couldn't get in contact with him, and eventually he called Cass out, and he says, everything you said was true, it was right, but you know what? You're my brother, and he said he was proud of everything that Cass accomplished with him and that they're family, and, that we're not going to break up before we become tag team champions. Enzo was just not going to let that happen. And Cass agreed, and he apologized to Enzo. He shook his hands, and they said there was only one word to describe them, and they're going to spell it out for you, S-A-W-F-T, soft. And I thought, for a second, well, maybe they're not them. Maybe they're going to go after the tag team championships. Maybe. Well, I was wrong because Cass is a hashtag Casshole. We need to get that trending. Make signs. I think it works. And this Cass heel turn is working because I'm pissed at him. What an asshole. What a casshole. What a dick. Turned his back on Enzo again. Suckered him in. You know, like, that's what a heel does. He's just... It's a different Big Cass now. And if he keeps this up, I see big things, no pun intended, on the horizon for Colin Cassidy. And he clotheslined him and then picked him up and press slammed him down the ring. Really good segment here. And then eventually, Cass comes back, interrupts the announcers talking, gets right up in Corey Graves' face and says he's going to snap his neck. And but Cass can't because Kurt Angle said he can't lay a finger on him. And then Cass doesn't know what Graves has on Angle, but it must be big. So, Raw telling a story here? Creating some suspense, some unpredictability, where this is going next? I applaud you, Raw. Thank you for finally doing something different. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of Enzo and Cass splitting up this early. I felt like they had so much more to accomplish, especially winning the championships. But so far, this 2 weeks into the breakup angle, it's been done right. Cass getting the heat. He's coming across as just an asshole, just arrogant, selfish prick. And Enzo coming across as a sympathetic babyface. So what more could you want? I thought this was a very good segment. And then we go to a feud that, honestly, I keep forgetting is happening. Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt. Seth Rollins took on Kurt Hawkins. He beat him with the ripcord knee for the win. Bray Wyatt gets on the Titantron, and he speaks some mumbo-jumbo. And I love you, Bray. But week after week, I don't know what you're saying. Remember this. As a fan of Led Zeppelin, I believe that Bray Wyatt's new theme song should be Ramble On. Now the time is now for him to sing his song. He's been around the world. You know the rest. That's all he does. He rambles and rambles and rambles. And it would mean something if he wins, but he's going to ramble, and then at Great Balls of Fire, he's going to lose. He's going to lose at SummerSlam. And then, whatever, No Mercy. And then TLC, or whatever the pay-per-view schedule is. I don't know. They keep freaking changing it. I can't keep up with it. But you get my point. This Seth Rollins-Bray Wyatt feud is not working. It is ice cold. But you know what? A feud that is red hot and is working? It's Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe. So Heyman's talking up the fact that how Samoa Joe is a Samoan dumbass and how he's going to call Lesnar down to the ring and Lesnar's going to call out Samoa Joe. So I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. These two are going to go at it. We got a fight. But we got Joe sneak attacking Brock Lesnar from behind, locking in the Coquina clutch. Lesnar tried to get out of it. He tried hard. He fought hard, valiantly, but he could not get out of the Coquina clutch. And Samoa Joe was able to get Brock Lesnar down off his feet onto the Coquina clutch. That's a big deal. I can't remember anybody in this run since Lesnar has come back that has gotten Lesnar locked in a submission and down off his feet. Even if Joe loses, which I think he will at WWE Balls, I still think that the way that they built him up, you're building him up as a big deal, and continue on with this. See how far you can go with Samoa Joe. You know, he's the destroyer, and he's certainly coming across this way in this feud with Lesnar. I've been enjoying it. Hell, I'd love to see this feud continue past the pay-per-view and go into SummerSlam. That's how much I'm enjoying just seeing these two beat the piss out of each other. I'd love to see, you know, like double count-out finish or something where, you know, just something to keep this feud going. Because I think it has just been really, really good since it started. So, one more week till I haven't been anticipating a match like this probably since some matches we got at WrestleMania. So, it's been that long, but this is a match that I'm really, really looking forward to. We then had Neville taking on Lince Dorado. Neville beat Dorado in relatively quick fashion. Locked in the rings of Saturn. Afterwards, Tozawa, who was at ringside, got right in Neville's face. I like the fact that they didn't have Tozawa say much of anything. I think that's the way you should go with him. Silent but deadly. Assassin. Less is more, obviously due to the nature of his English-speaking ability. He could speak decent English, but I like how they presented him here. And eventually Titus O'Neil came out, and Tozawa will face Neville for the Cruiserweight Championship at Great Balls of Fire. This card's shaping up pretty good, I'd have to say. Joe versus Lesnar, an ambulance match between Reigns and Strowman. Tozawa versus Neville. Wyatt versus Rollins. And then we'll talk about what happened with the women. We'll get into that shortly. But yeah, I'm really liking how this card is shaping up so far. And then speaking of the women, after last week, after only getting 5 minutes or 6 minutes, this week the women got more than enough time. They got the last half hour of the show in the first ever on Raw #1 Contenders Gauntlet match. It was Bayley versus Sasha Banks versus Emma versus Mickie James versus Dana Brooke versus Nia Jax. The entire Raw Women's Division. Nia Jax and Bayley started off, and I have to say, Nia Jax, I'd have to say this is her best showing so far on the main roster. She beat Bayley. She eliminated Bayley first. Then she eliminated Mickie James. Then she rolled through Dana Brooke and Emma. And then finally it came down to Nia Jax and Sasha Banks. And I enjoyed this last about 10 minutes of this gauntlet match between Nia Jax and Sasha Banks. Especially like when Banks hit a tilt-a-whirl into a standing bank statement, and Jax just threw Sasha outside the ring. And eventually Jax tried for a Samoan drop, but Banks was reversed that into a bank statement. And Jax eventually fell down to both her knees, and she had no choice but to tap out. And your new #1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship to face Alexa Bliss at Great Balls of Fire, I hate saying that name, is going to be Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss. A feud that I've wanted to see for quite a while, and I think it's the right step to get the Raw Women's Division back on track. Like I said, I thought they were going to go with Nia Jax winning here. I'm not disappointed that Sasha Banks won. I thought they were going to save that match for SummerSlam, but I'm not complaining. Like I said, Nia continues to get better and better, and like I said, this is, I'd have to say, her best showing to date on the main roster. And I know people will be disappointed that, she kind of rolled through Bayley and Emma, particularly Bayley. But I think Bayley needs to start from the bottom and work her way back to the top, just due to the way that she's been booked. So I have really no complaints with the way this went down. Solid main event to close out what I thought was a good edition of Raw. I really did enjoy this edition of Raw. If I had to give a grade for last night's edition of Raw, I would give it a B-. B- for last night's edition of Raw. So that is it, guys, for my review for the June 26, 2017 edition of Raw. Leave your comments down below in the comment section for what you thought of Raw. I always enjoy getting your feedback. Remember to click my like and subscribe button for more video content coming soon to this channel. Be sure to check out my video response to Delexman, top 5 wrestlers that I feel should turn heel. And also be sure to check out my Battleground 2017 card predictions videos. So my latest videos. So thanks for watching, guys. Until then, take care and have a great rest of your day.